Hello and welcome to the Shift Into You podcast. I'm Taryn, your EFT boss, bold cheerleader and spiritual BFF. I'm all about the woo, but not about the weird. We're going to be talking about all things personal and spiritual development in relation to business. So step into your bold, tap into your success, and let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome back to the podcast and YouTube channel if you are watching the video element of this recording. So today I want to talk to you about self-sabotage and something that you may not even recognize as self-sabotage. Now, this is something that I was doing myself a lot and I didn't even realize that it was self-sabotage until I kind of took a step back and thought about what I was doing and why I was doing it. So if you are always launching, if you're always creating new things, if you're always creating new offers, if you've got multiple goals set, if you have you're creating new offers all the time, you're creating new programs, new courses, new whatever it is, if you are releasing new things, if you are, always focusing on new goals. So that might even only be like one goal a month kind of thing. But looking for new streams of income, new streams of revenue, trying to expand your pool, so to speak. That's a form of self-sabotage, and I didn't really realize it until I was in the thick of it, and I was like, hang on a second, why is nothing working in my business? And it's because I'm not focused on anything. I was focused on everything, but I wasn't focusing on anything specific. Therefore, I was giving 5% of my attention to all of the things rather than 100% of my attention to one thing. So when you're only giving 5% attention to something, you're not really going to make any progress with it, are you? Like it's not going to happen. You get distracted, you get overwhelmed, you get frustrated that things aren't working. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll try something different. I'll do something different. I'll launch this instead. I'll promote this instead. I'll create this instead. And in your mind at the time, you're like, yeah, that's a good idea because it's going to add more money to my business and I'm going to sell this and I'm going to get more clients. I'm going to do. But then all of a sudden you kind of get to the end of the year and you're like, well, I made a bit of extra money, but I didn't really get anywhere. I didn't really make headway on my goals. I didn't really get any closer to that vision board life that I've been asking for, desiring, wanting, dreaming about, hoping for. And every single day you're like trying to make more money, which is perfect and fine as a business owner. But if there's no real purpose for it, it can be very difficult for money to come in and stay in. And this is something that I've worked with so much in my own life, in my own business, like focusing on so many different things, trying to make a buck, so to speak, and wondering why I'm not making any progress, wondering why I'm not getting any closer to the goal, wondering why I'm not getting any closer to building the retreat house so that I can impact thousands of people and, make their lives fucking incredible and give them an unforgettable experience. Why am I not getting any closer to that? And it's because I'm trying to get there by following 3 different paths at the same time, or trying to get there by following 10 different paths at the same time, by creating new offers and promoting new things and doing things that are actually taking me away from it. So if you've got one clear focus or, even 2, you're going to get there so much faster than if you're trying to focus on 10 things. And the thing is, if you are setting things up to be streamlined and work on autopilot so that you're generating consistency and freedom in your business model, then you can focus on creating the other things. But until you've got things set up that are working like clockwork, diverting your attention to multiple different areas is actually going to slow you down, not speed you up. but you're going to feel like you're moving faster because you're busy, you're doing more. You might be seeing the dollars roll in, but they're not consistent, they're not sustainable, you're not able to maintain them, you're not feeling confident while you are doing the work, So by doing all of the things, focusing on all of the growth in all of the areas where you're actually doing is taking your attention away from the one thing that is actually going to get you to where you want to go. And I was feeling so much frustration around the Bold Collective, which is my low-cost membership. I wasn't seeing the growth in it that I wanted. It's my signature offer. It's something I'm so proud of, and I'm so in love with it. And the transformation that it provides people is incredible. But I was feeling really frustrated with it because it wasn't growing. And I realized it was because I was focusing on other things as well. I was focusing on Impact Empire, which is a course that I have. I was focusing on Pocket Coaching, which is like a private coaching experience that I have. I was focusing on one-on-one accelerator sessions, which is a one-on-one offer that I have. And I wasn't focusing on Bold. My attention was being diverted. I was thinking about this new program that I want to create around journaling, which it's absolutely going to happen, but it's not going to happen right now because it's not what is going to get me from where I am now to where I want to be. I need to be focusing on the growth of the membership, because at the end of the day, if I achieve the goals that I've got set out for the membership, I am also achieving the goals for the events and retreats that I want to hold, which are directly linked to the membership. I'm creating Bold events and Bold retreats, it's aligned. It's so aligned, right? But if I don't have the growth in the membership, then I don't have the ability or the freedom to create these events and retreats in the way that I want to be creating them. So the Bold Collective is also directly related to the retreat house that I eventually want to build, and that whole experience that I want to come with that. And by taking my attention away from it and trying to find other different ways that I could achieve those results, it started to feel really sticky and unaligned. And while I'm very passionate about the other offers that I have, I know that in order for me to achieve the results that I desire in my business for, my long-term vision, ultimately, Bold is the answer to that. My business right now is already set up to create the business and life that I desire. It is already, everything that I need is already in place. I just need to be focusing on growing it rather than growing my product suite, rather than expanding my offering, rather than trying to attract new private clients and that kind of stuff. Like, I love working with private clients. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely. It fills my heart with so much joy. But I know that for the amount of impact that I want to have, Bold Collective needs to be my priority when it comes to my marketing strategy, when it comes to my promotion. And I know that out of that, I know that the people that I work with in Bold are then going to be they're going to be the ones investing in the private coaching with me, because I'm supporting them already. I'm showing them what they're capable of. I'm showing them that they can get results in this low-cost offering that, of course, working with me privately is going to provide them results at hyper speed. It's going to enable them to leap into their vision, into the life that they desire, into a new reality. And that's really powerful. So I need to be focusing on building those connections. And I'm really curious to know where you're doing this in your business. So one of my private clients, I was having a conversation with her the other day, and I said, so what's the end goal for the business? And she goes, well, I'd like to have 10 of this thing available. So 10 variations of the same thing. And I said, okay, but do you think that your business could be just as successful if you focused on having only 3 variations of it and focused really hard on marketing them, rather than trying to market 10 things? You then only have to focus on 3 things. And she's like, I never thought about it like that. And then I explained to her that it's actually a self-sabotage behavior to be adding more and more and more and more and more. And I did this in my e-commerce business as well. I was constantly adding more and more and more and more products. I was feeling really overwhelmed with the amount of stock that I was holding and the fact that the sales were So like the sales were coming in hot, like they were consistent, but it was like, you know, one of this thing, one of that thing, one of this thing, one of that thing. And it was really difficult to stay on top of stock levels, especially when I was doing my own manufacturing. So trying to find a balance felt really, really hard in my e-commerce business. And then as soon as I cut my product listing from like 40 down to 5, yes, it was incredibly scary to do that. It was incredibly scary to make that decision and reduce my product listing from 40 products, or it was like 38 products, down to 5. That's when my business became a 6-figure business. That's when I started making sales like crazy. That's when my marketing started working so effortlessly because everything was aligned. I was passionate about the products. The products were having an incredible impact. They were helping the right people rather than trying to please everyone. I was focused on pleasing the people that I set out to please initially. And it was just an incredible experience because there was so much fear tied up in reducing my product listing that when I saw those results in such a short period of time, like 10 weeks, in 10 weeks, I went from making like $2,000 to $5,000 a month to generating $8,000 to $10,000 a month consistently within 10 weeks. Like that's absolutely crazy. And that's absolutely a part of what I support people with inside Pocket Coaching, which is my private coaching experience. But I realized in my current product suite, I was focusing on trying to create more things all the time, rather than focusing on the key areas that were actually going to get me where I want to go. The Bold Collective, Pocket Coaching. They are my 2 signature offers. And by focusing on the Bold Collective, I'm also achieving other goals that I've got set for myself in the future. So you really need to take a look at what the goals you have in place are and whether or not they're actually aligned with the vision that you have for yourself. So I'm not talking about financial goals. I'm not talking about making $5 billion in a year. That'd be nice, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. What are you actually focusing on that's creating the most amount of impact and is actually going to get you where you want to go in your business? In like, let's look at your 5-year vision. I don't believe in 5-year visions. I know that things that you desire in 5 years are available to you in far less time than that. However, I also know that it helps to have some kind of timeline when it comes to creating goals. So have a look at what your 3-year or your 5-year vision is. Like, what do you want your life and business to look like then? And what are the actual things that are going to take you from point A to point B? That vision being point B. It's really interesting because I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends, Jamie, only a couple of days ago, and she had the same realization as well, that she was focusing on launching new things, creating new things, building new things, sharing new offers, and then was wondering why her existing product suite was kind of like falling by the wayside. Like, why is this not working? Why is my business not growing in the way that I want it to grow? And it's because her attention was being diverted across different areas of her business. And that was like a huge moment for her. And as soon as she made that realization, she was like, bang, able to step in to that next level version of herself and the next level version of her business, because she's now got so much clarity on what she's doing and where she's going. She's not distracted. She's not overwhelmed. She's not confused. She's not sending mixed signals to her audience. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's focusing on, and it's having an incredible and profound impact on her business. So I'm a big believer in taking divine and inspired action for sure. If you've received some kind of divine guidance and you're feeling really inspired to take that action, then by all means do it. Like, absolutely. But as long as it's not taking you away from where you are trying to go. Often, if we're not completely in touch with our intuition, we can receive these messages that we're calling divine guidance, or, you know, we're calling it an intuitive hit, or it's something that we need to take action on. And sometimes we need to learn how to determine the difference between ego and intuition. And inspired action, because often our ego will give us an idea, will send us a message that whatever it is, just for limiting belief's sake, I'm going to say, you don't feel good enough, or you don't feel worthy enough of having this kind of impact or having this kind of income. So your ego will send this message to do this thing, which is going to divert your attention, therefore bringing you back down to a zone that you're comfortable in. So we have to learn to tell the difference between our intuitive hits, listening to our intuition, listening to that divine guidance, or whether or not it's actually our ego presenting us with a self-sabotaging behavior that's going to take us away from the success that we're working towards. So that's definitely a whole nother conversation. It's something that I talk about a lot inside my free Facebook group. It's the Shift Into You Facebook group. I will leave the link in the show notes down below, the description down below. And I would love for you to join in on these conversations that we're having, all things personal and spiritual development in relation to business growth. And if you have any questions about any of my offers, I would love to have that conversation with you as well. But I just want to let you guys know that self-sabotage is such a real thing every step of the way in business. Even if you're making like $10 million a year, I can guarantee that you are going to be presented with limiting beliefs. You are going to be presented with challenges. It does not get necessarily easier, or they don't disappear. But what happens as you grow, and what happens as you make more money, as you have more impact, as your business grows, as your life grows, is you arm yourself with tools that enable you to move through these limiting beliefs so much faster than in the earlier stages of business, where we can get really stuck in them. So I certainly have experienced both ends of the spectrum in my business, and having the tools available to you makes a massive difference. And that's what I'm really focused on sharing inside the Bold Collective is, providing you with an incredible toolkit that's going to enable you to expand in all areas of your life and business through EFT tapping, through journaling, and through those transformative conversations as I develop my own toolkit to support you, my clients. So I would love to continue this conversation with you. If you have any questions about self-sabotaging behaviors or limiting beliefs, like maybe you're aware that you're stuck somewhere in your life and business, but you're not quite sure how to identify it, I would love to have that conversation with you. Send me a message on Instagram or jump into that free Facebook group and let's have a conversation, because it's the conversation, it's the awareness. Once you've got the awareness, the rest becomes so much easier. So thanks for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode.